Do you ever leave a gathering smiling on the outside, but completely drained on the inside? That used to be me, every time. I'd laugh, talk, play along, and then crash. Not emotionally, but energetically. I'd wake up the next morning feeling like I ran a marathon in silence. And what's worse, I blamed myself for it. People would say, "You're too quiet. You should get out more." So, I tried. I went out more. I talked more. I networked harder. But the more I tried to fix it, the emptier I felt. Until one simple question changed everything. But before I found that question, I had to hit the breaking point. Chapter 1. The Pressure to be Social. From the moment we're young, we're taught that being social equals being successful. School rewards participation. Jobs reward visibility. Even friendships seem to reward whoever talks the most. And so, I force myself into the mold. Louder, friendlier, more on. I learned small talk like it was a survival skill. I smiled when I wanted silence. The truth is, most people never question this constant social pressure. We assume it's normal to feel drained because everyone feels it, right? But some of us don't just feel tired. We feel emptied, like a battery that charges slower each time it's used. I remember one weekend where I attended 3 back-to-back gatherings: birthdays, dinners, meetups. Everyone else left buzzing with energy. I left feeling like I needed a week of silence. At first, I thought I was broken. But what came next made me realize I was just misunderstood. Chapter 2. The Breaking Point. It happened during a friend's birthday dinner. 10 people, loud music, overlapping conversations. I was smiling, nodding, pretending to listen. But inside, I felt like a radio tuned between stations. Static, noise, fragments of thought that never settled. Halfway through, my brain shut down. I couldn't process another word. I excused myself to the bathroom just to sit in silence for 2 minutes. My reflection looked fine, calm, composed, but I felt like I was unraveling. When I got home that night, I collapsed on the couch and stared at the ceiling. Why did something that's supposed to bring joy feel like running out of oxygen? That's when it hit me. Maybe the question isn't, why can't I handle this? Maybe it's, what exactly is draining me? And that question cracked everything open. Chapter 3. The question that changed everything. What energizes me versus what depletes me? That was it. 5 words that flipped my entire understanding of myself. Not how do I become more outgoing? Not how can I enjoy people more? Just, what energizes me and what depletes me? It sounds simple, but it changed everything. Because it made me notice the difference between connection and consumption. Some interactions genuinely fill me up, like deep conversations with a close friend or collaborating on something meaningful. But others, like surface-level small talk or noisy crowds, quietly drain my reserves. This realization wasn't about labeling myself an introvert. It was about understanding my energy system, how it actually works. And once I started tracking it, the patterns became impossible to ignore. But what surprised me most was how much control I actually had, once I stopped fighting my nature. Chapter 4. Redefining connection. I used to think the goal was to be more social. Now I realize the goal is to be more aligned. Connection doesn't mean constant interaction. It means presence. When I stopped forcing myself into every social situation and focused instead on the ones that truly energized me, my relationships got better. Not fewer, better. I stopped showing up half-present. I stopped pretending to enjoy conversations I didn't have the bandwidth for. Instead, I created balance. 1 deep dinner instead of 3 loud parties. One-on-one walks instead of group hangouts. Here's what's funny. Once I stopped chasing connection, it started finding me. The right people stayed, the noise faded, and it all began with that same question. But what I learned next changed not just my energy, but my identity. Chapter 5. The Shift Toward Authentic Living. The real transformation wasn't external. It was internal. I stopped trying to fix myself for being quiet. I stopped apologizing for leaving early. I started honoring my energy as a resource instead of a flaw. I began scheduling recharge time like I would any meeting, not as laziness, but maintenance, because rest isn't absence, it's restoration. I designed my days differently. Morning silence before screens, walks instead of calls, conversations that mattered instead of chatter that filled the air. And the more I did, the more whole I felt. People noticed. "You seem calmer," they'd say. And I was, because for the first time, I wasn't living against my wiring. I was living with it. And maybe that's the real secret. Energy awareness is self-awareness. When you understand what drains you, you stop fighting yourself. When you understand what fuels you, you start building a life that sustains you. So if you ever feel exhausted after socializing, ask yourself the same question that changed everything for me. What energizes me, and what depletes me? Because it's not about being antisocial. It's about being in tune. Some people recharge in crowds, others recharge in quiet. Both are valid. The key is to stop apologizing for whichever one you are. Once you start designing your life around your energy instead of fighting it, something beautiful happens. You stop surviving your days and start truly living them. Subscribe and like this video if you've enjoyed it. We'll see you on the inside.